Hello, happy Friday, and welcome to today's webinar for our Dynamics CRM for Oil and Gas General User Group. My name is Christina Felchlin, Support Manager at Ledgeview Partners. For today's agenda, we're going to highlight dashboards, in my opinion, one of the most effective ways to keep track of your personal or team metrics. We're going to provide a list of dashboards we have readily available in our oil and gas solution, and Michael will highlight a few dashboards, but due to time constraints, he will not be able to cover all of them. Please note we are going to make a PDF of this document available with today's recording, as well as post it to our recordings library on our website. Then Michael is going to explain when and why to use dashboards, and then give us some best practices and tips to create some really useful dashboards. He'll then give a demo of how to create a dashboard with a few charts and lists, as well as adding existing saved views created by advanced finds. Then finish off the webinar with some pre-submitted user questions, and then let you know of our upcoming webinars. As with all of our webinars, today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand after the live session. All registered attendees will receive an email this afternoon with an access link to the on-demand recording. With that link, you'll also get access to the presentation slides and, again, that PDF I mentioned earlier. To ensure the best audio quality for all attendees, we have everyone on listen-only mode. If you have a question, please submit those in the question pane of your GoToWebinar control panel. We will address as many questions at the end as we can. If time does not permit, we promise to follow up offline. Our support team is available to help you with your questions and issues from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Please remember to submit all questions or issues to our general support email, which is crmsupport@ledgeviewpartners.com, or call us at 920-560-6888. If you need to escalate or discuss any cases, please feel free to contact me to discuss. Before we get turned over to Michael, we are going to put a quick poll out. So currently we host these oil and gas webinar meetings on the third Friday of every month. As summer approaches, we'd like to find out the best day of the week to host these webinars. If you could, please take a few seconds to vote on the best day of the week. As always, if you are on vacation or just too busy to attend, please continue to register and we'll continue to email you the link to the recording. All right. Andy, do we have any results? Oh, okay. Looks like Monday, Thursday, and Friday are the best days. So stay tuned for those upcoming dates. Thanks so much for voting. All right, I am really excited to get to today's topic as I utilize dashboards to help manage my team's goals and objectives. It's so great to have the metrics available at a glance and the details readily available to dig into if I notice an area of concern. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming back Michael Dodds, Support Consultant with Ledgeview Partners.
Thank you, Christina, for that one. Everybody has recovered from March Madness. I know for myself, I have not quite yet, but let's get into the madness of some dashboards just to keep it going. So our first question is, what are dashboards? Simply, they're efficient ways to view important data. And what I mean by that is it's a way that you can put several different topics and from different entities onto one screen. So if you want to look at information as a sales manager or as a user, you can take all that information and put it to one dashboard, and it kind of becomes a one-stop shop. You can add up to 6 lists or charts to your dashboards, and you can move them around and change the size of them to make them work for you. You also have the ability to analyze the data through the charts. Because each chart is interactive and you click into it and blow it up into a list, they're interactive, so you can analyze the data right from the dashboard and not have to go into each individual entity, which can take time. So as a salesperson who's busy selling throughout the day, or as a sales manager who's busy managing his team, this is a really great way to be efficient in your time. As I'm sure many of you know, there are tons of dashboards that our excellent product team has put together for the sales managers, marketing managers, and sales users. I'm going to touch on just a few. Just due to time constraints, we're not going to be able to touch on all of them. But as Christina said, we are going to send this off in a PDF format for you to be able to review later. But a couple that I wanted to touch on are opportunity gross profit overview, revenue overview, and units overview. They all give the same type of charts, but each one is obviously for gross profit, revenue, or units. And by units, we mean volume. So you have charts of open opportunity. It's broken down by department, owner, and sales stage. And then there's also charts of the last 12 months of one opportunities broken down by department and month. So it gives you some really great analytical tools there. And also a chart of your top open opportunities. So the top for a sales manager or for a sales user, because there also are my versions of these, so my opportunities, can really see what your big opportunities are for the company individually. Another one that I wanted to touch on today was the inside sales and outside sales activities. As a user, activities are a huge portion of what you do on a day-to-day basis. So it gives you different charts of the completed activity goals. And then for inside sales, it also gives you your phone call dispositions and also the inside sales activities, gives you a view of that information. So that's a really critical dashboard as well. My favorites, and I know I've talked to a lot of sales managers about loading these goals, are 5, 6, 7, and 8. The corporate goal scorecard, sales manager, and sales manager, sales rep goal scorecard, and the individual goal scorecard. These are really great charts, and they show the gross profit in units of what you have actually achieved versus the goal for, again, the company, an individual sales rep, or the sales manager himself by department. So it gives you a really great look at it for the all different accounts that you have, and then new share of wallet and new accounts, and how you're doing to your goal, and that's really, really critical. Another really, really key one is Dashboard 98, territory management. The territory management, we're actually going to touch on this a little bit later for our user question, but territory management is fantastic. There are a lot of different uses for it. So Dashboard 98 is a great one to take a look at. So tips to make your dashboard effective. We want to cover how you can make your own dashboard, one you can create for yourself, the most effective for you. To start off, it needs to be simple to use. If it's difficult to use or cumbersome, then you as the user are not going to want to come back and utilize that. So make it simple, easy to understand and use. Relevant information. Whatever your role is in the company, that information needs to be relevant to you. That makes you want to keep coming back for more information. So business performance, how your open opportunities are doing, how your closed opportunities have done, success indicators, your win-loss ratio, how are you doing? And then role of the user. If you're a sales user, you want to look at your own information. If you're a sales manager, you probably want to look company or department-wide. They need to be focused. You know, again, it's as this next one says, saves time. It's a one-stop shop. To be focused makes it a one-stop shop. It needs to be what matters to you as the user. As I said before, give the user a reason to come back. So either if you're creating this for yourself or for your salespeople, give them a reason to come back. Make it a dynamic dashboard so it's ever changing, always new information in there. If it's just static looking at one time frame, it's not going to give them a reason to come back. Keep your dashboards clean. I'm sure you guys have heard me probably harp on this on a few other webinars. Keeping your dashboards, your views, your charts clean allows them to be the most effective for you. If you have outdated information or information you're not using anymore, it's not going to do you any good. So you want to make sure that they're up to date, clean, and has that information. That way you're also not recreating them on accident. And sharing your dashboard is great for coworkers, similar role, or if you're a sales manager, creating them for your users. I'm going to touch on later how to share a dashboard. Next, we're actually going to jump into CRM. I'm going to show you exactly how to create a couple of different dashboards. So we're going to start off with dashboard scenario 1, which is creating a manager dashboard. Actually, excuse me, this is creating your own dashboard. I apologize. So this is going to be creating your own dashboard, and we're going to create 3 different charts and 2 different lists. So without further ado, let's jump into CRM. So a key thing to remember when creating a dashboard, the last thing you do is actually the creation of the dashboard. To start off with, you want to make sure you create the view that's going to create the view and then create the chart from that view. So we're going to start in Advanced Find. So our first one that we're creating is a chart of estimated revenue for each salesperson closing in the next month. Excuse me, it's a chart of my opportunities, estimated revenue by stage breakdown. Excuse me, I apologize. So in this circumstance, we can actually use the opportunity page, the one that's already created my opportunities. We can just go in and create the chart right from this view. So to get to the chart section, you're simply going to click on this charts jut out over here on the side, and it'll create a little side pane for you, and then you can view the different charts that you've already created through this drop down. But to create a new chart, simply click on the plus sign. And we want a chart of our opportunities by estimated revenue by stage breakdown. So in our upper axis, we're actually going to be looking at estimated revenue. And then in our bottom section, we are going to go by sales stage breakdown. So we're going to go to sales stage. And what's really great about the chart designer is it's going to create a name for that chart right off the bat. So it's going to do estimated revenue by sales stage. If you want to change that to make it more specific, you're definitely welcome to do that. Once you have it the way you like, click Save. And if there's a duplicate, it's going to let you know about that. And then when you click this X to close the designer, it's going to bring up your chart right here. So this is looking at my opportunities that are open, and it's giving them a stage breakdown. Our next chart that we're looking at is we want to create a chart for these that are in the next month, and then further break that down by estimated revenue. So in this case, we actually need to go in and create a new view. So we go into Advanced Find. We're already in Opportunity, so we're just going to click New. We're going to set the owner to equal us. Since this is a salesperson dashboard, we only want it to apply to ourselves. And then we're interested in opportunities that are closing in the next month. So estimated close date, and we do next X days, next 30 days. So once we have that set, as I've touched on before, we want to go into Edit Columns. We want to make sure we put in the correct columns that matter to us. And the reason that's important when creating a chart, if the column is not in the view, it's going to be difficult to create the chart off of. So in this case, we're really looking to make sure we have estimated revenue. And in this case, so we can leave the columns as they are. So if we click OK, and then we're going to save our view as my opties in the next 30 days. And then we're going to save the view. And just as a reminder with views, when you're saving them from an Advanced Find to a view, it can take a little bit of time for them to show up in the bottom section. And once they show up, you can pull the information up. And the really great thing about charts is you only have to create the chart once. You can change the view, and it will just change the data that's represented in the chart. But the chart will stay there with the information you're looking for. So we're going to create a new chart, and we are going to do this by revenue. So estimated revenue in the upper right. And then we can break it down however we'd like to. We can break this down by estimated close date. Since the next 30 days span 2 months, we can see what's going to close in April and what's going to close in May. For our purposes, we're actually going to just change this to department. So it'll show the estimated revenue broken down by department for the next 30 days. So I'm just going to modify this chart designer slightly and just add next 30 days to the column, to the chart name. And then we'll click Save. And our last chart that we're going to create is on order history. So from order history, I actually already have this view created. So I'm just going to go into order history. And once this loads, I will change the drop down to my account order history in the last 12 months. What we're looking for in this chart is my account's order history, the gross profit for the last year broken down by month. I know that sounds pretty complicated, but it's actually going to be a really great chart once we have it done. So we'll click the plus sign to add a new chart. And in this case, we're actually going to change the chart. We're going to do a bar chart, and it's going to be a horizontal bar chart. So in this case, we're still going to utilize the total gross profit. And then our next option that we're going to look at is order date. And we're going to do this by month. So it's going to break down the month for us, and then it's going to give us the bar chart going off to the side here of the total gross profit. Again, I'm just going to add last year to our chart designer title and then click Save. And then we have 2 lists that we're going to add as well. For time purposes, I've gone ahead and already created these 2 lists. So we're going to go into Workplace and do the last step of creating the new dashboard. So from our dashboard screen, if we click on New, your first section that's going to pop up is the Choose the Layout. You can choose from many different options. As you can see, the common one is the 6 dashboard, and that's 3-column regular dashboard. Since we have 5 dashboards, that's the one I'm going to recommend that we go with. So once you choose your layout, you click Create. It's going to ask you to pick a name, and we're going to do Salesperson Demo Dashboard. And then from here, you're going to have 4 icons. For our purposes, and whenever you're creating, I would focus on these top 2. And this is creating a new chart, or inserting a chart and then inserting a list. So we're going to start with our chart. Key thing to remember is the entity or record type that you created the chart from. So if we remember, we did 2 for opportunities and 1 for order history. So we're going to go into opportunities. And then for the first one, we utilize the system view of my open opportunities. So then we're going to go to chart, and we're going to do estimated revenue by sales stage. So now we have our chart. And if we click add, as you can see here, this one looks a little bit squished. So what we're going to do is we're going to elongate this. We're going to hold down the shift key and then press the right arrow. And that's going to make this a little bit bigger. Then we're going to add a new chart. And in this case, we're going to add the My Opportunities in the next month. So again, we're going to navigate down to Opportunities. In this case, we created our own specific view for this. So My Opportunities closing the next 30 days. And then the chart we created was estimated revenue by department next 30 days. So now we have our chart. And this one fits perfectly right in here. It doesn't look squished like the other one was because we only have 3 columns or 3 chart bars to worry about. We're going to add our third chart, and this one was order history. So if we navigate down to order history, We created our own view for this one as well, which was my account's order history in the last 12 months. And then our chart was total gross profit in the last year. And we're going to click Add. And in this case, we're going to elongate this one a little bit as well, just so it looks a little less squished and we can see more information. You can also elongate them this way. So if we hold Shift and press down, you can also make it taller. Next, we're going to add our two lists. Our first list that we're going to add is a list of activity to-do list. So if we change our record type to activities, and we're going to change this to to-do list, and then click Add. And you're going to notice that within this list, it's not showing any data. For any list that you add, it doesn't actually add the data until you click Save and go back into the dashboard. Then we're going to add our last list, which is a list of open leads that were generated in the last week. So if we go to Leads, and then choose My Leads Generated in the last 7 days. I'm going to click Add, and we're going to elongate this one as well. So if we click the arrow twice, it'll elongate it to the full width of the dashboard. So now we have all of our charts in place. And once we save this, we determine that we want to change the size of some of these, we can definitely do that as well. So then we're going to click Save, and then click Close. And it's going to bring us right to our dashboard. So as you can see here, we have our 3 charts, we have our to-do list, and we have our leads generated in the last 7 days. If you want to go back into this information and edit, you just simply click Edit, and then you can change the charts, remove them, make them bigger or smaller as well. Our next dashboard scenario is a manager dashboard, and we're actually going to show you how to share this dashboard as well. We have 3 charts and a list. I actually already have this one created. So we're going to jump back into CRM. In this little drop-down caret in our dashboards, we're going to go to Manager Dashboard Demo. So as you can see here, we did one that's an estimated revenue by owner. So as a sales manager, if I want to see how all of my sales reps are doing for estimated opportunities to close in the next 30 days and the estimated revenue, I have my information right here. And right now I'm leading the pack, but Steve Rybrock's not too far behind. We also have number of leads qualified by owner. Here's a scenario where it actually breaks down to 3, 2, and 1. So again, I'm doing pretty good, and Sean's actually nipping on my heels there. But what as a sales manager I'm noticing here is that while I'm leading in opportunities and leads qualified, I'm not entering many activities. So obviously I have only completed 2 activities. So as a manager, I would probably want to reach out to me and make sure I'm entering these activities so that they can be tracked. So this is where these dashboards really allow you to see how your sales reps are doing, and while they may be doing well, there still can be points of emphasis that you can touch base with them. And then we added one last list, and this is showing all accounts with no order history. In many of your CRM instances, you're not going to have 1,300 orders with no order history, 1,300 accounts with no order history. This is a test environment, so in this case, there is a little bit more. And then we want to share this dashboard. So I have a leadership team member, Christina, that I want to share this with. So if I simply go to Share Dashboard, and then I add Christina by clicking on Add User, and then I just do look her name up, click Select, and Add. And then I'm going to want to make sure I give her the appropriate security settings. So you have to give her read access, otherwise she's not going to be able to do anything with the dashboard. But if you want her to edit, delete, assign the dashboard to another user, or share it with anyone else, you can set this security role right from here. And then simply click Share. It will share the dashboard with Christina. You're going to probably want to send her an email just to let her know that she has it and that it will appear under her My Dashboards, and probably give it about 5 minutes to get into that section. Now, one issue that is going to happen, she's actually not going to have access to these items. And the reason for that is the dashboard. Problem is we didn't share the views or the charts with her. So we want to make sure we go back and look at, okay, we have opportunity closing in the next 30 days as a view. I want to make sure I go in and share that with Christina. So I'm going to go back into my advanced find, navigate my look for to opportunities, click on saved views. Here's my closing in the next 30 days. So I check mark that, click on share. And then again, I do the add user team, I add Christina, and then I set her security access. So now she has access to the view, but she still doesn't have access to the chart. So our next step is to navigate to the opportunity screen, find our chart through our drop-down. So this is going to be estimated revenue by owner. And we're going to share the chart with her. So from this overflow menu, which is these 3 dots, we click on share, add user or team, look up Christina again, select and add, and then we set her security role. And there. Now she's going to have access to that chart within the dashboard. Once you've shared all the views and charts with Christina, she will have full access to the dashboard. You will not have to share any more with her, unless of course you change the view or change the chart. Then you're going to want to make sure you share those with her. We're going to go back to our PowerPoint. So some troubleshooting tips. So if they cannot view a chart or view a list, we just touched on the view or the charts not shared with that individual. So we touched on how to share that. But it can also be settings. If your sales manager is sharing a dashboard with a sales user, they probably don't have the same access that you do security-wise, and they may not have access to that chart. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Incorrect data. If you ever pull up a chart or a view and you're seeing this information isn't quite correct, I know it's a little bit different, go back and take a look at your view. It could be simply that you're looking at a different filtering section. You may have filtered by does not equal instead of equals. That can throw those kind of things off, so make sure you check those, and that's most likely what's leading to the incorrect data. If the data is not updating, if you thought that you created a chart and a view to show, the next 30 days of open opportunities, but you go in 5 days later and nothing's changed, or 30 days later and nothing's changed, it could be that it's a static view, meaning you set it for X date to X date. So July 1st to July 30th. It's only going to look at that data. You're going to want to change that to look at the next 30 days. That way it's dynamic and always changing. So we just touched on how to share a dashboard. I put these in the PowerPoint so you can review them later if you ever decide to do that. And same thing with how to share a chart. We're now going to move on to our questions from our users. That was our main topic for today that we wanted to touch on, was dashboards. So we'll move on into our user questions. Our first question is, what are the advanced uses of territory management? As I touched on earlier, territory management is one of my favorite dashboards that are within the oil and gas product. It's fantastic. if you create a view, so as we touched on in Advanced Find dashboards about a specific view that really is important to a subset of your accounts or leads, you can utilize that view to map them and see where they're all located and see if they have a commonality. Another one is planning a sales trip based on specific account or lead or an address. So if you're already planning to visit an account or a lead, and you have a sales meeting set up with them, but you want to make the best use of your time and visit other people in the area, you can simply change your action to map the different accounts that are around that account or lead, and then you can map your sales trip and make the most use out of it. The last one, which is very interesting, and I think it's a great use. You can utilize the map to determine if the products you sell can be sold to an account or lead in a specific area that's being affected by a natural disaster. For example, if there's a drought or a tornado or some natural disaster coming to a specific area and you know they're going to need generators and you sell a specific product that's going to affect those generators, you're going to want to give that account a call. How do I create a sales rep view? We've touched on this in Advanced Find, and then in that portion of the dashboard training we did today. You navigate to Advanced Find. You're going to set the look for to the accounts or opportunities, whichever entity you're looking at. Set the owner to equal current user, and then enter any additional filtering options. If you want to look at the next 30 days of estimated close dates, things like that information, you can filter by. Adjust the columns to show the information you desire, because that's the main key point of the information coming back to you. Click the Save As button and name the view. And then to share that view with others, as I touched on earlier, you click on Saved Views, check mark the view, click on Share. Wish to share, set the security settings, and click Share. So I let this in here again so you can view this at a later date. Our next question is, how do I utilize account search? There's a couple different ways to use account search. You can utilize it within the account entity or the global search, which is up in the blue ribbon bar. I highly recommend the global search because this is accessible from anywhere in CRM. Simply type in the account name or the name of a contact even, and it will pull up any accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, other entities that have that name in it. If you're not seeing your account and you want to quickly create it, right here in the account section, there's a plus sign right next to accounts. If you do that, it'll drop down the quick create form, enter in some very basic information to create the account.
Thank you, Michael, for the great content and demos. Thank you. Questions, please continue to submit those questions. We love to answer them live on the webinar. So, did you miss any of the previous user group webinars? No worry. We will, when you receive an email this afternoon, click on the View Webinar on Demand link. In that link, you'll have access to today's webinar as well as all the previous month's webinars. Our upcoming webinars for our next general user group, will be on Friday, May 20th at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. Our topic will be the Outlook client. And are you interested in learning more about Office 365 and how it can interact with your CRM? Join us on Wednesday, April 20th to learn how to combine the Microsoft Office 365 tools with Dynamics CRM. Your employees can achieve their goals across sales, service, marketing, and social, allowing you to connect with the customers and provide amazing customer experiences. In this session, you will learn how these Office 365 and CRM solutions work together to solve business challenges, best practices to ensure that your integration is smooth, and track. All webinars are recorded and available on demand. If you register after the live webinar date, you will immediately have access to the on-demand recording. Do you love LedgeView CRM for oil and gas solution? If so, we would love for you to refer us to other oil and gas marketers. We are holding a webinar for new customers Thursday, April 21st for those interested in the CRM for oil and gas solution. To register, they can visit ledgeviewpartners.com, click on News and Events, scroll to the upcoming webinars section and find the desired webinar and click More Information and Register link. On behalf of Michael and I, and all of us at LedgeView, we'd like to thank you for being part of the user group meeting today. These webinars are designed to help you, our valued customers, with your CRM questions. We hope you find this valuable and can walk away with a new tip or trick to use. Thanks again for attending, and have a great weekend.